told you fields were just a stain, men who worked year after year turned to villains, and nothing dear. Tractors rust in silence now, hands that fed a nation's need, branded cruel for sowing seed. And every voice that once was strong was softened, bent, or told it's wrong. You learned to doubt what you could see, and call it progress, call it free. This is how a country falls, not with fire but whispered calls, telling you you're something bad for loving things you always had. They turned your home into a ghost of everything it valued most. Now you stand and barely know the place you swore you'd never lose. Your family bonds, they broke into fractured villages and community. The town's empty without immunity. Stories twisted, lines erased, roots cut out and left to dry, while no one stops to ask them why. And every doubt you pushed aside was labeled wrong, or fear, or pride. So you stayed quiet, played along, and called the silence staying strong. This is how a country falls, not with fire but whispered calls, telling you you're something bad for loving things you always had. They turned your home into a ghost of everything it valued most. Now you stand and barely know the place you swore you'd never lose. And maybe it was slow by design, 1,000 cuts across the line, no single moment you could blame. Just looking back and not the same, you traded truth to feel at ease. Now the mirror shows a face that doesn't recognize this place. This is how a country falls, quiet streets and empty halls, people taught to stand ashamed of every root from which they came. Oh, England, how I love you so, your history and all I know, the sorrow and tears I cry for having to say goodbye. This is how a country falls, quiet streets and empty halls, people taught to stand ashamed of every root from which they came.
Hi, good afternoon. How the devil are you? So I've got a very exciting announcement. If you haven't seen on Twitter, X, whatever it's called, I am speaking at Unite the Kingdom on the 16th. You might see this T-shirt. Sorry, this hoodie underneath. It's amazing. Get yourself one. Um, and the turf flags and the union flags are on half price, so that as many of you as possible who want to go and take a decent flag can do so. So, sorry, I got something on me. These hoodies are really fluffy. Don't put one on if you've already got lipstick. Anyway, one of my sons is traveling through Europe, and his reports back are a little bit more sad than when I traveled around Europe when I was young. Very scary. Anyway, why am I doing Unite the Kingdom? Well, I was really lucky last year that I went and I managed to get in amongst it, and it's inspiring, and it's a very interesting thing to be in huge crowds of people where it's predominantly men. So women, look, stand up, be counted. I'm not saying that you didn't go. I'm just saying that more men went to this, which is quite a phenomenal thing to witness, because usually when I do anything, it's obviously mostly women. But you look, if you're worried about accusations, which you probably are, and I certainly get them and I don't care. But if you're worried about accusations, I just want you to understand that you're damned, right? If you don't stand up right now, if you don't, you are basically allowing the inevitable to happen. And Tommy Robinson has been like one man, really, fighting some of this stuff for a really, really long time, and he's been terribly targeted, and I think history will be very kind. And I have absolutely I'm honoured to be asked to go and speak. But women, shed any fear that you have of attending. You should be really afraid of what happens if you don't. I mean, I just watched a video that Pink Ladies shared, and I don't know the full extent of it, but I'll tell you what I saw, and I'm not going to tell you what I'll tell you what I already think. Um, but I don't know this for sure, and it might not be the case, but this is what I know. I saw some police being really heavy-handed, and what the title of the video was that a man had caught some Moroccan men, relatively newly arrived men, harassing his daughter or trying to attack his daughter, whatever it was. And the police were really heavy-handed. And what we know is that they weren't like that with the migrants. What we know from our police, and if you think about your own area, there will be some communities within your own area, whether they are Irish traveller communities, or whether they're Albanian, or whether they're Muslim, maybe like Pakistani Muslim. But there will be some people that the police are frightened of, and there'll be other people that the police are not frightened of. Like where I live, the Irish Traveller site, one of the Irish Traveller sites. I don't think it's the ones nearest me, but anyway, there was a guy who was fitting some electric thing. He said that there was an Irish Traveller site and they'd nicked a generator, and what the insurance company did for this £15,000 generator, because the police wouldn't go in and get it, the police wouldn't do anything about it, is they end up buying the stolen goods from the Irish traveller community, because it's easier for everyone and it's cheaper for the insurance company to go and buy the stolen goods back. And kind of, that's how everything fucking works these days. That's how it all works. If you're difficult, if you're trouble, then the police will leave you alone. If you're going to be too much bother for the police, they'll leave you alone. If you're law abiding, and the council, if I build a house or change my front door, and I don't have planning permission, but I've moved my front door over in my house, then I know, and we all know, that the council will come knocking on my door and they will make it really, really difficult for me. But and that's what they'll do. Right? We know that. I know that, you know that, we all know that. If you don't give a shit about the council or being law abiding, then you can do whatever you want and the council won't do anything about it and you'll probably know the law and you'll know that you can build off plans and the council will come round and you can say to the council, "Oh, I need a bit of time to rectify it," and the council will just leave you alone. And then maybe you don't register your house. And maybe not registering your house is absolutely no problem. And so you don't even put a letterbox on your door, so you can't get any summons. Nobody can deliver anything to you. That's just how we're living right now. That's how we're all okay about living right now. If you're a group of Muslim young men and you feel that, after the Southport murders, you want to come out because there's a lot of white men that you don't like, and you can come out against them, the police will just simply tell you to go and put your weapons away. If you're a white worker, can you imagine? Can you just imagine if a gang of white working class men come out with weapons, can you imagine the police saying to them, "Lads, could you go and put your weapons down? Go and put your weapons down, lads. You know, like we don't want any trouble." It's anyway, it's enough. So, you should be inspired by what's happening in Ireland. Over the last few years, what have we seen? We've seen the Dutch farmers' protests. We've seen French truckers. We have seen the Canadian truckers who, remember, they got all their bank accounts frozen. Canada, where people don't let the state into their houses when they have a vulnerable elderly person living there, just in case the state take them away and kill them. Like, I don't know how bad it's going to get before all of you think, come hell or high water, whatever the accusations are, whatever I'm going to be accused of, whoever I'm going to be accused of associating with, whatever country I'm going to be accused of allying with, however much shekels, whatever it is, you're supposed to be accepting for whatever views you've got, whatever country I'm ignoring or endorsing or supporting. Like, we live in this country. We have to save this country. Like, it's not a joke. We have in Wiltshire, there are plans for these huge solar farms, which we don't want. I don't want to live in a country where we have no food security because we've crippled all the farmers. Like, what are we doing with our money? And I'm going to go on to this in a minute. Actually, I better remind myself. So anyway, we are creating an environment where we have no fuel or food security in this country. And I was listening to Sargon of Akkad talking about like native populations, and I feel a bit different to some other people about um native populations. But let me just say this: I'm an English woman living in England. My husband is an English man living in England. I happen to think that this country is great because of the people who built it. And if we become a minority, then is this even a country anymore? No, I don't think it can be. I don't think it can be. So I am like many people very concerned about the sort of immigration. Like, if I was the boss tomorrow, I would stop all immigration from Pakistan, Afghanistan, any Muslim majority country. That'd be it. Game over. And countries where there are child soldiers, like Eritrea, countries where there are obscene levels of violence. I would just stop it. I would just stop it. Ah, thanks, Al Baron. Um, anyway, so I want to talk very quickly because I made a comment about these breakfast clubs, and I feel that this is all part of the same thing, and I'm going to explain to you how and why. So, what you have as a human being is the first thing you have primal bonds with the woman that carried you. We call that a mother. We call that person a mother. And there are other types of people that we call a mother, like adoptive mothers, and we call adopted mothers mothers for the sake of the child, not for the sake of the mother. And it's really important for a child to feel like they have the role of a mother in their life, right? So that's why we call adopted mothers mothers. And then you get an adoption certificate, right? So these are primal bonds, and we recognize those primal bonds as really, really important. And you also have a father. Now, a father is super, super important, really, really important. Not as important as a mother. Like if you have to go without one or the other, sorry, lads. But obviously, the person that carried you in their belly and then fed you, that person is going to be a little bit more important than the next person, but it's very close. And then, and then, you have the other members of your family, so it might be your siblings, grandparents, and so on. But you have your immediate kind of close gene connections. Then you have your extended family. Then you have wider family. Then we have community, the place where you grow up, and then you have people outside of the place that you live, like teachers, play school, nursery, etc., etc. Now, for me, it's really, really important that we recognize family as absolutely essential in the nourishment of an infant, and more broadly as a human being. Right? Those are nourishing factors that make us all better, more rounded, better people, including like racist uncle. Right? Racist uncle teach you to be tolerant. So this is this is really what we're talking about. These are my priorities. Now, when I was growing up and my parents had no money, I had no idea that we didn't have any money. Um, but my mum and dad were teenagers when they got married. My dad sorted sheepskins, which I can't imagine was a particularly well-paid job, working in a factory. And my mum was, by the time I remember what she did, I think she used to clean offices and stuff when I was a baby, but she was working part-time in an office. Um, and my grandparents, because they lived like within half a mile of me, my grandparents would look after me. So my generation, so this is not that long ago. I mean, it is and it isn't. In the grand scheme of history, it's not long ago. But we're still talking like 45, 50 years ago. Nobody I knew, and I mean nobody, went to a nursery as a baby. Nobody. Nobody. I don't even know if they existed. Um, Nobody was in daycare as toddlers. I don't even think childminders really existed way back then. So you had grandparents and mums and dads that looked after children and could look after children. Um, Before you could go to playgroup, which was like 2, and you didn't drop off for very long, it was only like a few hours or a morning. Before you could do that, you had to be potty trained. So we're just the reason I want to talk about this is I criticize the government or I criticize breakfast clubs. I think they're abhorrent. That now women are expected, and it is women. I couldn't give a shit about some feminist perspective on this, but children are better off, infant children are better off with mums than they are with dads, pretty much 99% of the time. But you didn't drop your kids off when I was growing up. You didn't have breakfast clubs or after school clubs. Maybe there was some sort of thing where people used to get picked up, but I don't think that was my age. I think that was years later. Anyway, so my mum always worked, and I also didn't go to any nursery or daycare. We are now having a situation where a woman will put her child, like 4 years old. For a start, you've got daycare at schools now. So you'll drop your kid off for like 5 days a week when they're not even verbal, so you can go and do a shit job that you don't like. I don't think that's okay as a society. Now, I also don't think that schools should be giving free breakfasts. I think kids should be eating at home with their mums or their dads or their grannies or their granddads. I don't know why this is controversial. Now, when I talk about this, people automatically go, "Oh, so kids should starve." No, we fucked up somewhere. We messed up somewhere. We have messed up. Is it the family tax that went into individual taxes? And we keep doing these things for a few people over here, and then we change a whole system and we ruin it for so many people. It shouldn't be that it is better for a family to drop a 4-year-old off at school for breakfast club to stay there until like quarter to 5, quarter to 6, 6 o'clock at night. That can't be okay for our society. We know that eventually what happens is it's not okay. Now, as part of the broader point that I'm making, we have to somehow unbake this cake. We have to do it. We have to somehow bring women's pension age down again. We have to somehow make it that we encourage people to have families and families that they can afford. We have to somehow make it not so affordable. So if somebody in your house is out working, right? It should be that you can afford to have some children. If nobody in your house is working, it shouldn't be that you can afford to have many, many children. And I understand that there is always going to be some part of society where children are worse off. But how do you stop that without stopping it? I don't know. Anyway, but that's what I want to say, that we have taken a direction in society where a lot of the nursery workers are shockingly bad. A lot of the nurseries are not so great. Let's not even get started on the amount of fraud there are in certain elements of society and nurseries. But I think we need to really look at what is it that we want for our society. Do we want our children to grow up having spent hardly any fucking time with us at all, and then they can't afford to live in the same place that we live? Like, my mum and dad, they bought their first house when I was about, I think we were in our second house by the time I was 2, and they had hardly any money at all. But also, they didn't have to have mobile phones. We didn't have a fridge. We didn't have a freezer. We didn't have a television. We didn't have a car. We didn't have a phone. Didn't have a washing machine. Did I say that? Um, so we didn't have those things. Now all those didn't have carpets. Now all those things are considered like essential. I do sound like I was born about 300 years ago. But, that's the crazy, crazy thing that we've allowed ourselves to get into, and I wonder whether we can, like, map this. And obviously, you've then got fewer houses. Some people might blame, Thatcher sort of selling off, too much of the housing stock. Some might blame foreign investment coming in and land blocking and blocking, um, houses in London that had a knock-on effect, and then those prices go up. And obviously, the fewer houses that are available, the quicker the house prices go up, and so on. But there will come a time when that just something happens to that. Um, and I don't know, like we can't be in a situation where tiny little non-verbal infants, where it's customary, like routine and normal for most babies to spend most of their waking hours away from their mums, under the age of 3. It can't be right. It can't be right that school becomes this sort of this drop in. And look, and it would be fine. It would be fine if schools weren't indoctrination camps with loads of activists. Like if school was like wholesome, it would be okay. But we know that that's not happening. So anyway, I just wanted to make that point because, and I also I'm going to make this final point because I've ruffled a few feathers with my comments on prostitution. I am not a feminist. I don't think that things that women do are not their fault. I think some of the things they do are not their fault. But I think a lot of the things they do are their fault. I think we have a benefit system in this country that isn't ideal, but if not every single woman is rushing to be a prostitute, then I don't think it's inevitable that poverty means prostitution, right? I do think some women are coerced. I do think some children are coerced into prostitution. And for those women, I think we should do everything in our power to help them. But I don't think someone like Zach Polanski's grotesque, disgusting mother, I don't think she's a victim of prostitution. I think she is a choice. I think she has made a choice to earn some money that way, and she's far too old to think that she can't leave it. So I don't think that women are perpetual victims. I know that some people who I respect greatly do, but I don't. And I think that we should help women to escape prostitution, and we should condemn women that don't, that have no fucking excuse to be degenerate in our society. It's not. It's it's not men's. It's not. It's not the fault of every single man that those women are in prostitution. And I do think we should have really harsh sentences for men who buy and rent women's bodies for sex. 100%. But Zach Polanski, his mother, I think it's relevant. I think if he wants to be the prime minister of this country, I think we'd know that his mother is quite compromised with some sordid current status. So anyway, right. Okay, I'm gonna make my I think you can contribute. I don't know. If you like what I do and you'd like to help me do more, then you can click on and get yourself. This is 20 quid off today. And there's an orange version, and obviously it's like a 1980s Fanta. Someone said if your choice is working in co-op or earning more on OnlyFans, what would I do? Well, I'd work in co-op. Look, sex is men and women see sex differently, very differently. Sex for most women is something that they give in security and safety or idiocy, right? So it's either an act of romance and love, or it's an idiotic performance where you think you're going to get something, right? It is not the same. And I would, of course, I would rather be working in co-op than selling something on OnlyFans. Like it's so weird. And also, look, men find jobs, right? Are we saying that women go into prostitution because they can't get the same jobs but men don't go into prostitution? Are we saying that there's some sort of weird job market that men can get that women can't? I don't think so. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this victim feminism. Clearly there are some women that are coerced as teenagers, and that's a totally different issue. That's a totally different issue. 100% totally different. Anyway, that's my 2 penneth. I'm gonna leave you with the caliphate video. But before I do, let me say that if you come to if you care about the United Kingdom and you come to unite the kingdom because you know that we might just have like 1 or 2 chances left to show this government and the globalists that we mean business. If you do that, I promise we will win. If you can stand with people on the merit of their moral compass and their argument, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Well, because I never lose.
They say convert, pay up or die, and they look you in the eye, knowing you believe the lie that inclusion was everybody's friend. when the truth now we all know that was the beginning of the end. You didn't fight back, you failed to resist, and now the country is under their fist. No sun, no fun, no sky. All the music now must die. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved in a British caliphate. Don't you love the British caliphate? Have one wife, 3 or 4, when they're knocking on your door, asking if you're reciting the Quran, telling you you're gay and stoning you today. No matter if you're a woman or a man, you didn't say no, you failed, so it seems. And now you are under the Islamic regime. No laugh, no dance, no art. Kill animals through their heart. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved in a British caliphate. Don't you love the British caliphate? They steal your daughter for their wife and imprison her for life, saying she's old enough at 9. They will exterminate your dog, a scorpion to your frog. Don't complain, just keep saying you are fine. It's far too late, you're way out of time. About 10 years ago, that was the line. No Christian or infidel, the whole place feels like hell. Thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved in a British caliphate. Don't you love the British caliphate? From the cities to the town, all the people wear a frown as they hear the horrendous call to prayer. Getting elected into power every minute, every hour. By next week a Muslim will be your mayor. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now in